everyone, and welcome to Club 3, episode 47 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. It's fair to say that things have not been brilliant for the latter part of January. Since you and I were together last, where we managed to get a 1-0 win over Watford in the Premier League, we drew against Leeds in the FA Cup fourth round. Eventually we went through 1-0 in the replay, but we didn't play well in either of those, and you can see that we didn't by the fact that sandwiched around those ties are a couple of losses against Man United and West Ham, another loss against Tottenham, and then a couple of draws against Palace and Fulham. And we just haven't been at the races for the last month or so of football. It's been really hard. And in the midst of it also, during the January transfer window, a scenario that I'd been battling against since the summer, unfortunately came to fruition. We had a player who had a release clause and was unhappy enough to say he wouldn't sign a new contract, not because he didn't want to stay with the club, but because he was interested in those that were pursuing him. And Barcelona came in for him at one point and didn't actually pay enough money to meet the release clause, but then PSG did. On the very last day of the January transfer window, unfortunately, hello Lottie, unfortunately we lost a player. I don't know if you can see Lottie, can you? It's my assistant manager today. She's a little bit confused because my wife has just gone out to do the weekly shop. So she's snuggled up right next to me, being a bit of a wuss. That's just who she is, really. She's a bit of a wuss. Anyway, she's going to be sitting and watching today. And we get to play Arsenal. But the player that we've been talking about, unfortunately, is Loku Doku. Named after the great Loki Doki in terms of what he's done for my YouTube channel. Loku Doku had this left-hand side position in our attacking midfield, and Guive plays there today. We have bought in a replacement, and it's this guy, Apollonio Faro. It's the best that we could do. It only cost us 9.5 million, something like that, because he wanted to leave the club he was at. Wasn't getting the game time there. I don't see him as a direct replacement for Loku Doku. I don't even not sure whether I think that Guive is either. Although he's not bad, I'd like a little bit more pace, for example. I'm not sure whether ultimately we're going to have to go outside of the club properly in the summer, maybe, to bring in a proper replacement at left wing, on the left wing. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, unfortunately, a great attack that was doing pretty well in the last few months before our run of form changed has been impacted by the loss of Loku Doku, and we thank him for his service and we wish him well on his pastures new in PSG. When PSG come calling, I'm not sure we had the opportunity really to stand in the way. We rejected a load of really high bids for him in the few days leading up to the end of the window, and then eventually they finally came in and took him on his release clause, which was about 44 million. Unfortunately, we only got about 40% of it because the finance is not great. It did take us to only about minus 2 million in the bank balance. Remember, we took a few gambles and a few risks with our finances, and a bit has come back to bite us on the bum, really, because otherwise we could have kept that money a little bit more and had more of it if we weren't so down on what transfer revenue we can take from the sales. But anyway, eventually, having bought in Faro, the new guy, for 9-point-something million, we ended up on minus 12, considering that last episode we were about minus 37. I'll take it. That's reasonably good business. If we're going to lose a player because we have to, then we might as well try and financially help the club out as well. And we've done it as best as we can. So for now, as I say, that left-hand side is probably not going to be quite as potent. I do like Guive. I think he's done okay for us. He's got 5 goals in 12 starts and 15 sub-appearances and a couple of assists. He's not bad, but he just hasn't quite lit the place up. So now is his opportunity to do so. I will definitely be playing him in our first 11 more so than Faro. Faro will be playing in the sort of second string and rotation sort of role, just to see how Guive does with that particular opportunity. Ivan is another one that's been playing because Joku's been injured recently, and you can see his run of form has been reasonably good, 7.8, 6.9, 7. So there's some reasonably good average ratings in there. Hasn't got any goals this season, but has got a couple of assists. but I quite like him as a player. I think he does okay. But Joku is on his way back now. You can see he's on the bench today. Not quite fit enough in terms of match sharpness to start such a big important game for us in the FA Cup. But he's on the bench and he's coming back. And the likes of Story is a similar situation. Langer is out today. He's picked up a bit of a knock, and suspended is Harwood Bellis. So we've had to rearrange a little bit in this starting 11. And all of that means that for our FA Cup tie against a very, very challenging Arsenal side, originally we were going to come back and play Liverpool in the Premier League, but I just felt maybe, if we're honest, this might be the last point that we get to play in the FA Cup this season, unless it goes very well for us. And if we do go through, it would be quite an epic win for us. Arsenal have beaten us 2-1 and 1-0 already in the Premier League this season, so we're up against it. So I thought this is the better game to come and show you for this particular period of times. So all of that means that today's team for the FA Cup tie against Arsenal is Bazunu in goal, Bogle at right back, Target at left back, Romario and Burns in central defence, Ivan, Vera and Martinez in central midfield, Noel on the right, Guive on the left, and Pauletta up top with a bench of Story, Cooper, Joku, Silas, Daniels, Farrow and Monterese. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So we've gone with we're underdogs, go and give these fans something to cheer for today, get behind, we're at home. So I did say at the beginning of the season, I would try as much as I can not to react any more like a promoted side from a few seasons ago, but now like a team that finished in 8th place last season in the Premier League. So we are using our controlled possession at the start of the game just to see if we can compete with Arsenal in this kind of context. I'm not 100% sure whether they're full strength particularly or not. But in theory, we are, and we are at home, and we've got as good a chance as any. I know that we've been beaten by them twice this season, but this is an FA Cup knockout game, and you can never quite tell what's going to happen. So if we get a good start, and we're 22 minutes in, if this particular highlight could lead to something of a decent opportunity, then maybe we're off to the races here and potentially going to be able to compete with them. Some really nice build-up down that left-hand side, even back to the goalkeeper. Eventually, Bogle takes over down the right-hand side and back to Romario, and we stay on the right-hand side into Martinez now, centrally for Ivan. There's our deep-lying playmaker. Links all of the play together, and oh no, we've messed it up. We've kicked ourselves. Oh no, this is terrible. Again, it's with an error of our own making. We were doing really nicely, that controlled possession, decent amount of passing, and just at this point, Burns dallies on the ball, gets caught out by Owusu, who goes through, clean through on goal. Bazunu comes out, narrows the angle, but he's up to it, and he slots it past the goalkeeper. And we were the masters of our own downfall in that particular scenario. Can we come back quickly? Yes, we can. Martinez with a great corner in, and Noel running in off that penalty spot into the 6-yard box area. And the ball nicely finds him, and he gets a really good head onto the ball, really nicely at that near post, runs onto the ball and powers the header home. And immediately we come back into the game. And that is so vitally important, whether we go through or not, to be able to come back so quickly and put ourselves back in the game before half time was immensely important. I'm really thrilled by that opportunity, and well done to Noel for taking it. A little bit disappointing in terms of what we gave to Arsenal, but really great in terms of the comeback for the first half. Tell the boys they did well and their efforts were excellent. I will do that. I won't necessarily dig out Burns for making an error. We've got a yellow card for Bogle that we'll have to pay attention to. But other than that, a little bit of tiredness creeps in. We'll go into the second half and we'll just watch that as the game progresses a little bit. But we are doing all right. We've had enough possession to compete in the game. We've had a couple of shots, not many. Arsenal have had a few more, but we've done okay so far. Can we keep up the good work and not create any more silly mistakes. We almost won the ball at that point, but then Vera gives it away again, and on the edge of the box Arsenal have it. We crowd them out, we try and push them and harry them, but it didn't quite work, and then a pot shot high and wide over the goal, and Bazunu didn't have to do anything with that. But it's Arsenal again with a free kick to the far post, header, looping header over the top of the bar. Bazunu had it covered, I think, but only just, and we were riding our luck a little bit there. Let's go and check in on the side. We've got some nerves around with Vera, not playing particularly well. Guive 6.3. Are we going to really regret having to get rid of Loku Doku? I suspect we are, until the summer at least. But it's such an opportunity for Guive to come in and perform, and he just hasn't done it. Couple of slightly lower conditioning in terms of some of our players, so we've got quite a lot to work with here. So we are going to take Guive off, and Farrow can come on. He's had a couple of substitute appearances, not an awful lot to speak of yet. We'll give him another chance. Paoletta comes out, and Monterese with his great long shot. If you remember before, we've had him in various roles, but he plays reasonably well for us now in the striking role. Ivan is playing too well to take out at this point. I'm going to risk keeping him on, and so we are going to take the nerves of Vera out and put Silas in. The other thing to talk about with Vera is that he's been under transfer bids from China recently, and that's unsettled him. He's wanted to leave, don't really know why, for the money I guess. But we managed to keep hold of him because it was after our January window had closed, so we couldn't replace him even if he'd gone. So we've kept him through to the end of the summer. He's all right at the moment. If it causes too much of a problem, I'll have to sell him at some point maybe. But through till the summer, it should be okay. But this January has really unsettled our side. What a great interception by Noel. Turns on a sixpence and drives at the defender again. Drops it back sensibly to Bogle. Powers past a defender also. Gets it into Martinez. Martinez with a shot. And Farrow, the new guy, with a follow-up on that Martinez shot. The goalkeeper can only parry it out into the penalty box. And Farrow off that left wing plays as an inverted winger. So he's always going to be slightly narrower. And he finds himself in exactly the right spot to run onto the ball. Martinez out from his feet, and Farrow responds quicker than the defender, and on his left foot pokes it home. Lovely goal by the new guy, and we have taken a 2-1 lead against Arsenal in the FA Cup. And can we do it through to the final whistle? We can. We beat Arsenal. Top of the table Arsenal, who've beaten us twice in the Premier League. We go and we perform well enough to come back from an early mistake from Burns, and we get a 2-1 win in the FA Cup, and the opportunity to win a piece of silverware continues this season. I'm absolutely stunned by it. Passionately, that was really special. Nobody gave us a chance. Well done. That will help them as well. Come out of the game and we'll accept some congratulations, you would imagine, in the press. Derby win. Derby come from behind. Awarded a bit of money. Man United keeping a close eye on Noel. They can keep as close an eye on Noel as they like. We've got him till 32. We're in 2029. And he's got 100 and something million release clause. If they want him, they're going to have to really pay for him. So we'll see what happens with that maybe in the summer. But yeah, our front line is beginning to look a little bit decimated, and some of our stars are attracting attention. We've got plenty of other youngsters coming through as well. The likes of Romario in central defence has been doing brilliantly this season and is improving all the time. And so at 21, he's going to attract attention soon. So anyway, that'll do it for this particular episode in terms of matches. We've got a lot of really tricky ones coming up. We've got Liverpool in the Premier League, then we've got Newcastle and Brentford. There's our quarter-final spot. We'll find out what we've got coming up with that soon enough. And then Leicester and Man City. And it will be Man City that we come back for in the next episode. I'll play the quarter-final off air. If we get to the semi and then the final, I'll probably play those on an episode. But Man City is going to be the next game that we play in terms of the next episode for Rolling in the Isles. So I hope you'll join me for that. Let's see if we can quickly go and find out who our quarter-final opponents are going to be in the FA Cup just before we say goodbye for the day. So finally, I've found out who our opponents are going to be, and you can see that we've got Liverpool. So the draw was Man City, Huddersfield, West Ham, Man United, Liverpool, Derby, Brentford, Tottenham. So we're away from home at Anfield, unfortunately, for the quarter-final of the FA Cup. It's going to be a really tricky tie. If we're going to have a look at how that fits into the schedule, you can see that we've just played the Arsenal match there. We've got a couple of games, including Liverpool in the Premier League, before we reach the Liverpool FA Cup game. So your choice. Tell me in the comments below, do you want to play the Liverpool FA Cup game or the Man City Premier League game in the next episode? I'm not going to do both of them. I'm going to do one or other just because of how the rest of the season will pan out. So you choose. Tell me in the comments below which one you want, Liverpool or Man City, and we'll go for that one in the next episode. Until then, thanks for joining me today. Really appreciate it. If you're enjoying this series so far, then why not subscribe to the channel? Keep up to date with the videos. If you like this particular episode, it was really good, wasn't it? It was a great win against Arsenal. But if you love this particular episode, click that like button for me. Help me get seen by lots of other people. Until next time though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.